Procrastination and time sucks are everywhere. How do you overcome it?
There's one thing that if you can't master, procrastination will destroy you.
They feel guilty for hobbies that they lose track of time with.
Do not do a to-do list.
Did you ever find it difficult to recognize what you actually wanted?
Some people are losing dollars by picking up pennies.
Why is say no so hard?
First off, people do what they're incompetent at.
Do you run the risk of putting a bunch of things that don't actually align with you in your parking lot?
That's not my role. That's not my responsibility.
And all these dreams and things that I want to accomplish and I haven't, and it's like, oh, just get rid of them.
If you understand, you'll bust through procrastination and it will never be an issue again.
As I try to go towards my goals, procrastination and time sucks are everywhere. How do you overcome it? How do you, as a successful millionaire who's Wall Street bestseller, New York Times bestseller, what's the advice?
There's 6 main things. If you understand, you'll bust through procrastination and it will never be an issue again. Okay, so the first thing, you got to have the framework of flow. And this is absolutely a game changer. If you have this, procrastination, no problem. Yep. Then you have to have a power of a positive no. Too many people are people pleasing and saying yes when they mean no. They think they'll sacrifice, they'll eventually overcome that, and then too much on their plate. One of my favorite people on the planet is constantly spread so thin because he's never used the word no. The third thing is we have to understand our neurology. Because all the best intentions in the world could be sabotaged based upon the neurology of our body. And there are certain modalities and methodologies that help you reprogram so you're not stuck in fight or flight or sabotage with subconscious beliefs that hold you back. Fourth one is one of the most richly rewarding, but at the same time, it's the elusive obvious. What do I mean? Is most people just don't know what they want. They know what they don't want. That's really good. They're good at saying what they don't want. But if you know what you want, which is just your own personal desires, not what you want to say to appease people, preachers, teachers, family, and friends, but what you inside want. Management by objectives. This is a key framework. So you don't destroy bandwidth, get overwhelmed, which inevitably leads to procrastination. So it supports you to create focus instead of like a mess. So we got to overcome our escapisms. When the stakes are high, when the standards get set, escapisms are what sabotages and gets us to be distracted with things that don't actually serve us. And look, sometimes an escapism has a temporary benefit and bump, and we go, this is great. I don't have to address the things that are really important. This is just helping me forget about that. And then eventually, sweeping under the rug or being a workaholic comes back to bite us in the ass. So let's talk about the format of flow first, because I think this is really critical. And I always start my cash cabins with this. The first thing is I tell people by the end of the day, we're going to understand what you're doing now. And what doing now means is you're going to get it done in the next 2 weeks. And what I don't do, I absolutely do not do a to-do list. I don't do a to-do list.
Why?
No, because now that's an endless supply of things that you think you have to do without proper context or priority, and it can destroy flow. So Let me talk about this. Doing now means it lives in time and space. And there's a few ways to handle this. Number one is you put it in time and space as if it's already accomplished inside of the calendar, right? And you put it in a powerful way, not as a task. I'll go through that here in a second. Let me tell you how I kind of figured this out. I remember I had to prepare for a full day symposium that we were doing. And I had this Friday where I was like, I got Friday to work on it. And you know what? I didn't work on it that Friday because I had the whole day. So I did a ton of other stuff. And now I only had an hour and a half Tuesday. The only spot that was available was an hour and a half to truly focus on it. And I got it written in an hour and 20 minutes. Didn't take me a whole day. It lived in time and space. So to live in time and space, the first thing is we need a beginning. When are you actually doing it? Not a task list, but it lives in like, I'm going to do this at 9:15 a.m. on Monday, right? So it's in the calendar. Then we also have an end time. That's the beginning. But then we might say, all right, I'm going to do this from 9:15 to 9:45, right? So beginning and end. And I'm going to list it as an accomplishment. I'm going to list it as it is already completed and the benefit of that. So instead of exercise, I might put, I'm a lean energetic machine due to working out or whatever it is. It might say, what I'm looking to accomplish,
Gotcha.
I'm putting that in a little bit more inspiring way. You find out what terminology works for you, but ultimately we've got beginning, end, and we've got the accomplishment.
Okay. So,
right?
so you're basically listing as the accomplishment, the
Not
end
just
result.
the task, but the accomplishment. And now we have it in our calendar to work on, right? So it lives in time and space, because Parkinson's law was this test where it was like, hey, what if I give an employee something to get done Friday by 5? When do they usually start working on it?
Friday at 4
or 4:15 or 4:30, right? Because time kind of just slips away. It expands without a container. So ultimately that's the first piece is doing now is it lives in time and space as an accomplishment inside of my calendar. Okay. And now part of my doing now, as I think the most brilliant person on this topic really for me has been Dan Sullivan and his entrepreneurial time system. It changed my life. The entrepreneurial time system really talks about 3 factors. Number 1, what are your free days? And most entrepreneurs, like when I first got into Strategic Coach, people are like, what are your hobbies? I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur. What do you mean? There's no hobby. I just work. I was like, that was what? And I remember Babs Smith, who was president, and Dan's wife was like, hey, you got to take more free days. You'll make more money. I'm like, what?
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I take Christmas off. I'm annoyed by that because I'm not earning money. It was like, that was my 20-year-old mentality. And they're like, no, because then you relax, you rejuvenate, and then you show up with more creativity, you show up with more energy, you show up the best version of who you are. Plus, why not enjoy life along the way, right? So free days are 24 hours with no work, right? And you have to rethink how you do your business even during that.
Yeah.
So when I took my first free day, it was on a Wednesday. I just went mountain biking with my father-in-law. The next one I took was a snowmobiling, thing where I left my phone behind. It was like a crack addict not having crack because it's like, oh my God, what if a client needs something and I'm not available, and it's like, well, we have no phone service up here doing the snowmobile thing. Those were really effective because there's a lot of fun to it.
Yeah. Well, and even the 24-hour part is interesting because I've had days where it's like, oh, in the morning I'll do business and then I'll go do something with family. But then when I get back, there's more business, right? So it's not a complete break.
It's like that you never get strategic, right? So if any day and any moment I could work, then there's always time to procrastinate. I could do that. I could do that Saturday.
Yeah.
Instead of if someone usually here's a good test, set a specific vacation and see how productive you become just before the vacation.
Yes. Yeah.
You start offloading things because you start going, hey, what could I just delegate? What could someone else support me with? Because sometimes you just get in the habits of working. And some reason people work so much is to escape other areas of their life, escape emotions, escape difficult conversations, escape life in general. And that's where they become a workaholic. And so it serves them monetarily, but not necessarily emotionally sometimes. So, the thing is, free days is the first piece. And then you talked about focus days. Focus days are like 80% of your day are on your highest profitable activities. So for the NFL, a focus day is the game. That's the game day, right? But then you have buffer days. Buffer days are your prep days. So I do Monday's my buffer day. We meet with everybody on the team, the coaches, the sales team, the media team. We meet and we're planning out the week. We're giving feedback. We're talking about everything that's going on. We're making refinements.
But you're not doing any execution.
Right. That's all the practice, right?
Okay.
And by the way, you can have 20% buffer on your focus day. Right. So free, focus, and buffer days, and you actually plan them out. And when you have free days, then you learn to delegate. You learn to enjoy life. When you have focus days, you're not going from first gear to fifth gear to third gear. You're not it's like, no. And what happened is, this is really key, is on my focus days, I had to create this distinction of most people make themselves too available. I focus on making myself accessible. So accessible is on my terms, on my timeline. Available is interrupt family time, interrupt free day, interrupt everything, constantly go. And so here's some examples. I just tell my assistant, hey, I'm done with email, but each day we'll have a huddle. So if there's anything I really need to respond to or that you don't know how to answer, we can talk about it, or you can put it in a folder. And once a day I'll check that folder. Yeah. But now I'm only dealing with a couple of emails a day.
Yeah. But then also the assistant doesn't feel left in the dark.
Right. And now she knows how to respond to most of those things. Right. But just on my drive up here, we did a 10-minute call. That was our daily huddle. We allocate 30 minutes. It doesn't always take 30 minutes because we're in contact, but now once a week, she knows we'll go through and we'll figure that out. And if something is, critically urgent, she'll find the right time without disrupting the flow of my focus.
Yeah.
Like, not going to tell me right before I go to film, not going to tell me right before I go to stage.
Yeah.
So available is what too many people are. Make yourself accessible on your terms.
Yeah.
Now here's the deal. Most people, they set it up wrong. They just tell people, I'm always here. Just call me anytime. Just whatever. It's like,
yeah. So that expectation's there.
there's expectations there. They put their cell phone on a card or whatever it is. So you that's the key here is how do you get focused? Because there's a lot of profitability from focus, but a lot of people get distracted. And when they're distracted, there's too many things going on, which leads to procrastination because it feels overwhelming. They don't have a process for it. So the first piece of flow is what are you doing now? It means you're getting it done in the next 2 weeks. Then the second thing that's really important with flow, right? The second thing, and this one's really critical, it's what are you never doing?
Yeah. The parking
right?
lot.
No, it's not. You're just never doing it.
You're
so done with that permanently. I don't do that anymore. That's not my role. That's not my responsibility. It's an idea for someone else. Not enough people go through and eliminate things over time.
And just say, that's not in my wheelhouse.
Look, we have this program, the IP Expander.
Yeah.
And I go from soup to nuts to help a first-time author that has a great message get their book out. And I was like, you know what? It's not what I'm going to do in the future. So it's going to move to never doing once I hit a certain number of people that I've helped, which is just a few more, and then it's gone. It's just not part of our core offering at that point. It's a never doing. I might come up with an idea with you and it sounds amazing in the moment, but I'm like, think about it. I'm like, oh, I'm actually going to move that to the never doing. It's not part of the brand. It's not who we are. Let's let someone else in the world do it.
Yeah.
Not enough people go through and say, what in my calendar no longer represents who I am? And if I can remove those, then all of a sudden I have a lot more freedom. If you never remove those, then you pile on too much and you lose your focus and it diminishes you. So,
and also you start feeling bad after time because you're like, oh man, all these dreams and things that I wanted to accomplish and I haven't. And it's like, oh, just get rid of them.
Right. And so like, again, let's talk about one of the best, coaches in the world, Dan Sullivan. He has this process where he's like, hey, here's where procrastination comes from is first off, people do what they're incompetent at.
Yeah.
If you're incompetent at something, you're going to procrastinate it.
Yes. Right. It's not your natural inclination.
You also have things you're competent at, right? Mm-hmm. And if you try to do things you're competent at, they still can drain your energy.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, I can do it. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm capable of doing it. I hate doing it. Like, this is the thing. If you're a cheapskate, you're typically going to do things you're incompetent and competent at just to save money, but you're going to lose money because you're going to drain your energy and not be able to produce and be as effective. I just had a call today with someone in my multiplier community. They said it's an 8.5 out of 10 on how bad they hate their job and what they do.
Jeez.
They said, if 10 is killing me, I'm at an 8.5. I'm like, immediately it's time to resign. You've got the money. And if you took some of that money and you said, I'm going to now figure out what I'm going to do next.
Yeah, for the next
that
year
money is an investment in your quality of life because she has a business idea, but isn't moving forward with it because this other stuff drains her energy so much. So the 30 minutes we talked, my coach was like, hey, you've got the money, look as an investment in yourself. And let's create this transition plan. And then if you get another job that isn't 100% aligned in everything you want to do, it can provide some cash flow to help you launch this business without draining your energy so much. The reason it's stalling is you're just feeling decimated by hating your work. And then the next level, by the way, incompetent, competent, then there's what you're excellent at, right? And what you're excellent at, you can do it, but it either is neutral or can still drain your energy, right? You might do it better than anyone else but you don't want to do it. But people come to rely on you for it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so excellent at that. There's certain things in finance that I'm excellent at, but I just like my team to handle it because, and part of this was what really helped me out to find the time and to find the energy is when I could answer a question that our clients would ask, but it wasn't my role. I would say, ooh, that's a great question. I'm going to connect you with Tim. He's the best. He'll help you out. And I stopped answering it, even though I knew how to answer it, because I'm training people how to operate within the system and get the results with the people that I'm matched up with who gets energy. Now,
and also you don't want people being like, oh, but I really want to talk with Garrett because he has all the answers. It's like, no, other people are more proficient at it.
And what's crazy about that is I made that transition where it was like, okay, I was the main guy coaching to building a robust coaching team. You know, we had like 8 coaches. And I remember as I made that transition, it was hard because I knew how to do it. I could do it, but I didn't want to do it. And so I had to like start building up other people, and found people that over time were much better than me at these things.
Yeah.
Because they were unique at it, which is, by the way, the top level, you know, what Dan Sullivan would call unique ability. So you want to find your unique ability because it actually is going to increase your energy, and it's something that no one else can do. So even if, check this out, even if someone's like you're the best at it.
Yeah.
Let's say someone else could do it about 80% as effective as you. But that time and energy for you gets moved to what you're unique. That might have a 10 times advantage that you're doing your unique thing. Even if this thing takes a little bit extra time, it's going to cost less money because you'll make more than that extra 20% faster that you could do the thing you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
See, and when you're in the unique piece, you're not going to procrastinate.
Yeah, because it's you're part of your flow.
Right. You procrastinate because you're like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. This drains my energy. And part of the reason people procrastinate is because they say yes when they mean no.
So is it
I don't want you to hear that. I don't think they say yes when they mean no.
That's true.
They tell people, yeah, I'll do that. And then they go, I don't want to do that. And now they're going to procrastinate it because it drains them.
I feel like I spend a lot of my time in the competent and excellent area. How do you spot that? How do you spot, like, what are you unique at? Do you look at what do you procrastinate and use that as a guideline? You got to do a calendar audit. Okay. And you're just going to say, you look at 3 things. The thing I'm doing on the calendar, did it increase my energy? Did it decrease my energy? Or was it neutral? Right? You just go through every day for a while, for 30 days, every day. End of the day, you go, number 1, what did I do that I didn't need to do? Okay. Number 2, what did I do that I could have delegated? Yeah. And some people are like, I don't have the money to delegate. You can start with an independent contractor. You can start with a very small amount, because if you could just get that off of your calendar, what could you do that actually produces more? Yeah. So you're basically, some people are losing dollars by picking up pennies. I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to procrastinate. And I'm going to feel overwhelmed. I'm going to hate what I do. I'm going to drain my energy. You see that vicious cycle. So, 1, what didn't you need? Number 2, what could you delegate? Then you're going to say, number 3, what do you want to do more of? What did you like? What did you want to do more of? I always call that the 5 and 5, right? What are the 5 things you want to do more of? And 5 things you want to do less of. And you're asking that every single day for 30 days. And you're just going through and writing down all your activities. And you're either putting an arrow up, that's kind of an arrow up. You're either putting an arrow down, or you're just putting an equal sign. And then you just find out, like, all right, how can I do more of the things that bring my energy? How can I get rid of the things that drain my energy? And how can I just eventually, like, get more to the things increasing versus neutral? But obviously triage is, let's take care of the things that are draining your energy. So that's the never doing is a big part of that. What are you doing now? Lives in time and space in the calendar. What are you never doing? What are you eliminating from your calendar permanently that you're like, this is no longer who I am, what I do, or any of that? And then number 3 is, what are you doing later? Okay. And now I know this is talking about procrastination. I'm saying doing later. But my definition of doing later is it doesn't happen in the next 2 weeks, but it's going to happen within 3 months. Okay. And this does not live in the calendar yet. It lives in basically a place you can capture and revisit. And so every day when you're going for this 30 days, your audit of your calendar, you're going, all right, what is it that, is part of my objectives and I'm looking to do, but it's not happening in the next 2 weeks? Every day or every week, you're looking and saying, okay, when do I move that doing later to doing now? And so when I'm moving that, it might be, who can I delegate to and what do I keep? But doing later means it's not in time and space yet. It's just captured. Because if we think everything's in time and space, it could become very like, you're just calendar, you're booked 24/7 and there's no space and there's no room. And so if it's like, cool, in the 2 weeks, I now know what I'm getting done. I know when it's getting done.
and it's more strategic than the doing later enters the doing now as the priority shows up. And then the thing that you brought up is the parking lot. So what I always tell people is like, focus on what and why. What and why? That's the vision. That's the container in what you're doing. It's the purpose. It's the sense of, excitement and adventure. It's the sense of like, why do you want this? And what do you want to be doing? So you think about that. And then, so what and why on one side, and on the other side, then you worry about the how and the when. So if you start with what and why and get really clear, part of it is what to eliminate. What are you never doing? That's going to free up time. It's going to free up energy. And then when you're really clear about what you do, then you think how and when, and it's like, well, who could I delegate to? How could I delegate? That's going to be the key. And then you're going to do the things that you do best. Like you don't have to like coerce me to be here filming. I enjoy it. You don't have to coerce me to get on a stage and speak, or to sit down and write, or to build a high level relationship, or, those things are absolutely in my wheelhouse. It doesn't get procrastinated. I would procrastinate. It's like, hey, I need to read someone's trust. I need to go through a spreadsheet. Like I can do it. I don't like to do it. So that's why I'm saying, how do I remove that permanently? The way I remove that is I create a role for someone instead of a task. Tasks, those are like boomerangs. Right. They keep asking they come back around. What do I do next? Where a role means no more micromanagement. Gotcha. It means someone owns it, like the buck stops with them. Doing now, not doing now, never doing, and parking lot. The parking lot lets me dream big. There's no constraint of time, of money, or ability. I'm just taking it off and being like, I'm going to dream. And if I come up with 1,000 ideas, I can sit in the parking lot, because I only want to work on 3 to 5 objectives per quarter and per year. I find if I get outside of that parameter, it's either too little, I'm not up to much, or it's too much, and I really start to destroy the bandwidth of the team. Here's a good example. Parking lot.
Okay.
The Money Jesus. Love the concept of us having the Money Jesus channel, doing the financial roast, where it's like a Tosh Point oh, Bill Maher, Andrew Schultz style. I'm reacting on a green screen to all the crazy news that's out there around finance and roasting it, right?
Yeah.
So entertaining. And then that whole channel is, how do we lead with entertainment that educates? Well, it's parking lot because it doesn't meet the 5 objectives right now. And when I turn on my screensaver on my phone, my 5 objectives are crystal clear. I see them every single day as the wallpaper. I've got it in my wallet, written down, handwritten. I've got it written in my Remarkable. I'm basically reviewing it. I'm revising it. I'm seeing
it. So it's the same objectives listed in multiple places. So just always top of mind.
I'm just reminding myself. See, if we could ask ourselves, what do we want?
Yeah.
Right. And this is the thing, Weston. Most people know what they don't want. I don't want that. I don't want to be working so hard. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to do this, whatever it is. Like, they're pretty clear about that. But like on the other side of that is, what do you want? And it's just because you want it. Not justified to anyone, not to prove anything. Just when you get clear about what you want, it's one of the best ways to blast through procrastination. We procrastinate when we're doing the bidding of someone else, gaining their acknowledgement, gaining their, pat on the back to us, gaining some type of ego achievement out there in the world. And we might be like, if I have this $1 million, then I'm going to be happy. And we do all this stuff we hate and sacrifice and grind just for that $1 million. And then maybe we get there, maybe we run out of energy and we become bitter and we resent the world and we say, this sucks. And then we keep saying yes to things that aren't aligned. Like, when you know your objectives, you can say no to things, because the hard thing is to say no to good things.
Do you run the risk of putting a bunch of things that don't actually align with you in your parking lot?
No, because if it's in the parking lot and it doesn't align, what you're going to find out is when you go to revisit it, it's not going to be a good idea anymore.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would say well over half of the things in my parking lot never happen. And because in the parking lot versus having a false start, that I'm doing something I don't really enjoy and I haven't thought through, or that my team's bandwidth gets destroyed, for example, I have an event coming up, and the person that's now going to travel to support the events is like, hey, can you book my flight? And I'm like, hey, man, I am not a travel agent. So no. So the good things, it's hard to say no to good things because they might make money. You might say, oh, I'm going to make money doing this good thing. But the key is we got to learn to say no to good things so we can say yes to great things.
Gotcha. So when you're considering taking it out of the parking lot, that's when you address it.
You're not going to procrastinate a great thing.
Gotcha.
You don't procrastinate your favorite thing to do of the week.
Yeah.
You procrastinate the things that you feel that you have to do, but you don't want to do. You procrastinate the things when you're too cheap to invest in others to support you and offload it. You procrastinate when you say yes to 10 objectives and you only have the bandwidth for 5.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It's a management of ourself. You know, The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker is probably like the definitive work on this, managing oneself.
Yeah.
That's the key. And for me, the hardest thing has really just been to say no. But what got easier is when I could say, I'm sorry, that doesn't align with my 5 objectives. So when I say no about the 5 objectives, I'll say, I have these 5 objectives I'm crystal clear about. I'm passionately got my head down and focused on it. If that changes, I'll let you know. And when you can start to say no, because you're not just people pleasing, then you say yes to yourself and you stop procrastinating.
So let's go deeper into that. Why is saying no so hard?
Hey, future Garrett here. This channel is about principles you use, not just tips you forget. So we built the personalized procrastination decoder, a 2-minute check-in that reveals what key steps can help you get unstuck. You get a copy and paste AI prompt to explore your results and plan your next steps. Links below in the pinned comment. Don't hop over just yet. Open the link, finish this video, then hop on it to deepen your discovery and give yourself permission to prosper.
Why is saying no so hard?
Because we want to be liked. Because we want everyone to tell us yes. So we think if we say yes to everyone else, then the universe will reciprocate.
Yeah.
Because maybe somewhere in our life we felt rejected and we don't want to feel like we're rejecting someone else. Maybe because there's money attached to it. You're like, oh, that would be good. Yeah. And we don't consider, like, let's just say that we have a capacity of 100%, right? Most people, when they come up with like all of their ideas, it would require 120%. And the problem is they haven't even thought of like all of the disruptions, the complications, the not going according to plan, right? All those kind of things. So we've already overcommitted. And what happens is people underestimate what they do in decades and overestimate what they do in days or year or like a year. Right. And I think that's like, I heard it on a video from Tony Robbins. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we go, oh, we limit what we can do 10 years from now, but then we think we can do more in 30 days. Oh, gotcha. And now all of a sudden we're like overwhelmed. We're tired. We're stressed. We're losing sleep. We're in a sympathetic state with our nervous system. And so we'll go back to the very first thing I said is your nervous system. When you're in a sympathetic state, it means it's like that's the fight or flight type of thing. It's a stress response. It's like there's no rejuvenation. When we're parasympathetic, then we actually get rejuvenation. We actually can manage our energy better. Now we show up the best version of ourselves. And so I look at most people, including myself, like my coaches have always told me like, hey, you're really capable and you say yes to too many things and therefore you're not focused enough to take something all the way. And so everything gets kind of muted. And it's kind of like in investing, this diversification. People diversify their time too much. Yeah. Right? We got to go back to what's your big mission? What are you most unique at? What is the things that you would do and you actually have energy? Like I remember a webinar, it was great. And someone texted me like, dude, that was a huge amount of energy. How do you feel? I'm like fired up. I could do it again, because it's part of the uniqueness. And that's going to feed our energy and help us grow. And by the way, we're going to be more in a parasympathetic state during that time when it's over, because we feel like we put in it was worth it. There was the juice was worth the squeeze and we feel good about it. So it's like, have you ever just had those days where you're like, dude, that was an amazing day. Yeah. And you just feel totally comfortable relaxing. What have you done in your life to kind of transition from that sympathetic to parasympathetic? All right. So what I've done, I just went hunting. From Saturday till yesterday. And so what happens is when I'm in nature, and by the way, I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm listening to the wind in the trees and the, the bugle from the elk and the, just all the sounds and the quiet. So it's like I'm in nature. Like I have someone, her name's Terry, and Terry's really brilliant. She said, hey, when you're in nature, what happens when you look at certain leaves, it's a Fibonacci kind of sequence, and that puts you in a parasympathetic state. So she's like, if you're ever really stressed, you can literally hold a plant and look at it with both your feet planted on the ground. And then Huberman would say, you take a really deep breath, then take a second one, and then release, and it actually starts to put your body in a parasympathetic state. So breathing is one of the key ways to do it, right? Being out of these like frenetic situations. We're always like, so much going on, multitasking and all that kind of stuff. So like you find those paths that, like, even when people come to Cache Cabin, we walk the river. Why do we walk the river? Because we hear the aspen trees and the leaves, and we hear the water, and that's going to put someone in a more parasympathetic state. I have a thing called New Calm. And New Calm is you rub some like cream on here, and then you put these pads behind your ears, and then you listen to a certain music, and it's to help put you in a parasympathetic state. So there's kind of biohacking ways to do it. There's the natural way with nature. And so that could be anything from like having the right hobby that allows you to lose track of time. Yeah. It might be like, what is it that you do? Maybe it might be a meditation or some type of spiritual practice can help you get there. It might just be having those free days that we talked about. Like, it's being deliberate. It's, making sure that you go out and just walk in the grass with your bare feet, and that puts you in a grounding situation, right?
I feel like a lot of people, they feel guilty for hobbies that they lose track of time with.
Right, because again, they're addicted to being a workaholic, and they look into it, they go, it's like, okay, here I am, here's this activity, and it's one of two things. Is it making me money, or am I not making money? And by the way, they're thinking of this like immediately, right? And this is why you hear erroneously, time is money, because they're in the effort trap. Yeah. Right. And they're in the immediacy trap, right? The immediacy trap is I put in effort and I see a payoff, right? So like I remember early in my career, I was like, okay, let's do a team retreat. So it's 2 days. I'm not meeting with clients. And at the time it was early on, it's like, okay, I was just calculating what I wasn't making in the first vacation I took when my son was first born was San Diego. And I thought not the cost of the vacation. I thought what I wasn't earning because I didn't have enough system and infrastructure. So both those situations is people get shortchanged by thinking, did I do this activity and get rewarded right now? Where the wealthiest people on the planet, they spend a lot of time building the foundation and building the system and the entire organization so it could be extraordinarily profitable. I think about even like the show Seinfeld. And you think of like Jerry Seinfeld and, Larry David, they would spend so much time writing and working and not making money, but they'd put in years and years and years of doing all this work. And then it hits big, but it was all the work that they did beforehand that prepared them for that. Right. So you have to find something that you love enough that you can be obsessed with it. If you can't be obsessed with it because you're just doing it to make money, you will procrastinate. Right. But like when I was learning my one-man show, I was obsessed with it. When I was working on comedy, I was obsessed with it. When I'm writing my books, I get obsessed with it. I think it's healthy when there's parameters and boundaries. But when we're doing things just because we think it's going to make money, but it's not aligned with who we are, well, then it puts us in a sympathetic state, which is stressful, which we feel tired at the end of the day because we're stuck in things we're incompetent, competent, or excellent at, but not the things we're unique at. So part of it could be even the therapy that you go and do, right? There's tons of therapy that can help you rewire your neurology. I did a thing called 40 Years of Zen. It's like brain work for an entire week. You wear a spider cap, you look at these lines, you go in and you kind of reprogram your brain by going back through traumas and then flooding it with love. MDMA therapy, somatic therapy, EMDR. Like there's so many methodologies. Even my acting coach, Larry, he would just yell at me and it would like trigger my neurology, and then we would work through it because then he could actually help the rewiring. And he said, why don't you go do some therapy? It's going to be helpful for you to get better at this. And so that was part of it. Now, the second thing we talked about know what you want. But I woke up on Monday night at 1 a.m., Tuesday morning, essentially. And I just wrote for 3.5 hours. What do I want? And not justified like, is this good or bad? It was like, no, I want it. Why? Because I want it. Like, what do I want? So when you get clear about what you want, you get more aligned with where you have power, When you're not clear about what you want, you say yes to things that might be temporarily profitable, but long-term detrimental to your energy and your quality of life. And you'll start procrastinating because there's no joy and fulfillment in it.
In your darker times, did you ever find it difficult to really recognize what you actually wanted?
Of course, because I was trying to prove myself. I was trying to prove I wasn't stupid, and I was overcompensating by thinking my bank account would show people, if I was a multimillionaire, that I wasn't stupid because of something that happened when I was a kid that made me think I was stupid. So I'm trying to fill this void that's insatiable. No matter how much more money I make, there's more to be made. No matter how much money I make, there's someone that still is making more. And so absolutely
that
part of the process.
That neurology step was important prior to before you could get to the understanding your want.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I didn't know like that a free day could be something that would put me in a parasympathetic state.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like sometimes just having naps could be really helpful. I mean, I remember in my 20s talking to someone that was he was a client of mine, and he's like, hey, I've been studying this general that could work on 3 hours of sleep a day for an extended period of time. I remember thinking, damn, imagine how much I can get done if I only slept for 3 hours. And now I'm like, oh, that's horrific. Like I did the reaction video. Steve Harvey's like, if you're going to be wealthy, you can't get 8 hours of sleep. Well, you're sleeping on people outwork you. I'm like, dude, come on. That was an asinine advice. Against the brand.
I used to tell people that I wish my superpower was not being able to sleep. And then I realized how stupid of an idea that was.
A lot of people say what they want based upon what they think will sound good to others.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like a martyr or a sacrifice or a benevolence or being altruistic.
Look how benevolent I am.
Sometimes like you just want it because you want it.
Then you don't have to explain it to anybody.
I want to be the most influential and impactful financial teacher for entrepreneurs that has walked this planet. I got a long way to go. Why do I want to do it? It makes me feel fulfilled as hell. Yeah. I build amazing relationships. I think of the power of that community and what we'd be able to accomplish and what we'd be able to do together and what that would mean, because first generation people that have never had wealth before make tons of mistakes. What if I can help them avoid some of those missteps? Well, it means that I get to teach and do the things I want to do. Teach, tell a few jokes while I'm teaching, watch the impact, actually have these conversations with people, see them light up and feel like I'm really deeply connected with them. I mean, the last 3 people that came into Cash Cabin, I was emotional and so were they as we did Family Constitution. And it inspired me. My Family Constitution is getting updated when we do our next family retreat. Like it's absolutely like, I love doing this. All right, next, I want to talk about management by objectives. T. Boone Pickens, multi-billionaire. He just has people with laminated cards in their pocket that work for him. What are your objectives? 3 to 5 objectives per year and 3 to 5 per quarter that are kind of informing the stepping stones to that year. So what's nice is you might have 3 to 5 personal, 3 to 5 business, but it's like clear about what you're looking to achieve, how, if you know it's been accomplished, if it's a bit of a stretch so that you have to have other people support you. And ultimately it informs the actions that you take. If something's outside of that, it might be seductive. It might sound so good, but it might be a distraction, not an opportunity. And if you say yes to too many things, you start saying no to the most important things.
So the whole idea is to limit you down of those are the 3 to 5 that you're going to
It's not limit you.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's focus you. It's a big distinction.
Yeah, huge.
And the problem is some people think, well, I'm capable of more. It's like today I was having a phone call with one of my friends and he was like, hey, I just made a lot of money last few weeks ago. He's someone that came to the Cash Cabin. He goes, and then I just like felt like I needed a break. I'm like, oh, so you really grinded it out. It's like, yeah. I'm like, here's the problem. If you go to the gym and you've never been, and the first day you're like, I'm going to just go 100%. What happens the next day, Weston? If you go all out your first day to the gym, haven't been in years.
You're friggin' done the next week.
Can't move. You're so like, I did this right before I hunted. I did too much on the calves. I did this vibration plate and my calves were just screaming. Right. And by the way, I'm going to be hiking for hours a day. So it's like, yeah, I like to give it my all and then always say, can I do 1% better the next day? Which means I have a little bit in the tank, even though I went all out. I didn't go so out that I didn't have anything left.
Yeah, that you burn yourself.
And so you leave enough room for desire, which means don't overdo it. Don't go to too many, because you also destroy your team's bandwidth. So I'm saying perform at your best, But when you use that formula of having free days, then it means you can show up and give your best on your focus day.
Gotcha.
If it's focus day, like you just eventually wear down.
Yeah.
So you've got to create rest, relaxation, and rejuvenation. And you've also got to create your boundaries and parameters, because look, when I bought this cabin, it was $250,000 more than I wanted to pay. So I just said, all right, what if this next quarter I have an objective and I'm just going to do an extra 10 in the quarter for my 1 day consult. At the time was 25 grand for the day, more than I would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard.
Yeah.
Kind of ran out of juice. So I have the parameters. How many do I want to do? 2 a month. No more than that. Why? Because if I do 3, it's going to start to drain my energy. I'm going to start to procrastinate other important things. Mm-hmm. If I can learn to say no because it's not my objectives, I can politely say no and stay focused. Focus builds wealth, right? Distraction destroys it. Mm. And the thing is, most of us are distracted, and that's distractions what creates the procrastination. Too many things all at once, all happening, destroys our energy. Procrastinating. The only way I'm going to procrastinate is if I am not capable of saying no. Here's the biggest procrastination for people. People procrastinate any level of confrontation or any level of standing for their value. So people don't want to have difficult conversations. I've been this way. Mm. I let it go in my first business so long that I ended up selling the business because I wasn't a good enough leader to have the difficult conversations at times. Or, and I lost trust in myself, trust in going, what do I really want? And why don't I stand for that? Why don't I ask for that? Why don't I create boundaries and ways to deal with that? I procrastinated because I didn't want that difficulty. And by the way, it's this simple philosophy of all you got to do is you got to do the hard things now, and you'll have an easier life later.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have, and when I say confrontation, this isn't like, this isn't like negative. It's just like,
they're crucial conversations.
Yeah. And I bought that on audiobook, just thinking, I should review that. Right. Yeah. And then what happens is easy is because there's a system, because there's a vision. Yeah. Because there's a team. See, but it's hard to hire and invest in that person to build something, but it becomes easier once they get on board. Some people are like, if you want to do it right, you do it yourself. And guess what? They end up doing, it's really easy to do that right now, but it becomes increasingly hard when you don't have the energy and you start to procrastinate and you feel overwhelmed and then you lose sleep. You can see how it's a slippery slope. So
it's weeds in the garden, right? Easy to pull out one. Yes. But if you just say, I'm going to wait. Next thing you know, you don't have a garden anymore.
You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You procrastinate because you're trying to please other people and you don't know what you want. Because you're doing things that you're not the best at just to save money, and it's costing you your life and your energy. Yeah. Procrastination comes down to overwhelm, lack of clarity, diminished confidence. And what happens more than anything, this is the last piece I'd written down, is escape. Yeah. People procrastinate because they want to escape the realities of what they've committed to that they don't want to do. So it's like, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to watch Netflix. I don't want to do that. I got to think of something. I got to clean the garage. Like escapism is when we're confronted with a reality we don't love because of our choices. But a lot of those choices came from lack of clarity, not knowing what you want, not having a format of flow, not understanding what you're excellent and unique at, and understanding to want to do more of the things that you're unique at and less of the things that are below that line, and ultimately designing your life and calendar and then reviewing it, because the calendar is part of the story of your life. Look at it and say, do I like the story it's telling? Is it the life that I want to live? And where it's not, is it because you've avoided conflict and conversation? Is it because you've swept something under the rug and hoping it would go away? Is it because you have been afraid to ask for what you want? Is it because you don't value yourself enough or somehow don't stand for that value because who are you to have all that success? And you have some mindset or belief that success means that someone's done something wrong instead of something that is of value. And then what did you try to do too much on your own versus letting other people support you as well? Mm-hmm. See, this is the game. If you're procrastinating, you find the money, you find the way to delegate, but you got to know this is the thing to do. Is it worth seeing through? Because if it's worth seeing through, you'll find the consistency that will get past complacency and it will lead to really amazing profit, really amazing prosperity. But if you're doing things because you want to prove something to someone else, you're doing it because you want to show someone else that you're capable, even though it's not what you want. And, we did this in Killing Sacred Cows. We did this report on a study by Shirley Blotnick, where he took like somewhere, you have to look in the book, like 1,500 people and said, hey, you can pursue your purpose or you can pursue profits. When do you want to do first? And if you're profitable first and then you pursue your purpose afterwards, or if you pursue your purpose first and then you consider profits along the way, but it's purpose the priority. What he found was 101 of these people became millionaires in the study after 20 years. Mm-hmm. And 99 of them pursued purpose first. See, when we pursue only money at the expense of who we are, we drain our energy, we destroy our quality of life, and then we don't see it through, because if you really want strength, you create a vision that is greater than your problems. And when you have a vision that you're so committed to, that you're willing to dedicate your life, that you're excited about, you will deal with the minutia and be willing to get through it, knowing where you're going. But if you don't have that, you will procrastinate, because the problem is you're chasing profits with no purpose. And you have so many people out there saying, buy a boring business, do the things that, like that absolutely will work. Old money is kind of like people are willing to do things and stay. But like, to me, what would you dedicate your life to is the question. What would you dedicate your life to? And what story do you want your life to tell? Does a calendar match that? These are the solutions. And then get the help to rewire your neurology. So it's one of prosperity and growth and trust, instead of skepticism, grind, hustle, and tiredness.